Screen. Call this meeting to order, and let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll take a minute of silence just to collect our thoughts. Pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice and justice for all. Okay, our first order of business is to amend the agenda, and I have an amendment I would like to propose. I would like for us to move the action item of appointments to the JEDI committee to the first item of new business. So we can, the folks are here and this, I want to honor their time. So do you have a motion?
I move to amend the agenda to move the JEDI discussion first.
All?
No, I'll second.
Okay. Vote yes. You.
I vote yes.
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 Okay, so we'll start with that when we get to the business items. All right, order of business is to approve the previous minutes for October 23rd. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're right. Never mind. I'm just mumbling to myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do that.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
I will make a motion to.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion on this minute? Let's take a vote.
Aye.
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 All right, minutes are approved. Okay, now it's time for public comments for items not on the agenda. We allow 3 minutes. If you have a comment, just raise your hand and you can come up to the seat and state your purpose and then defend your thoughts or ideas. Anyone have any comments that items not on the agenda? Okay. All right. New business. Action item, consider appointments to JEDI. Maura, do you want to lead us in that one?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Mara Hershey, and I'm the chair of Windsor's Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Committee. And tonight I wanted to bring forward Amy Vickers and Griffin Vigneault, who are here tonight, as new members to be appointed by the select board. Griffin is a student, freshman at Windsor School, so he's looking at the 1-year student seat, and Amy is looking to fill the remainder of an open 3 terms, so her term would end in May of 2026. And so this past year, we kind of updated our internal onboarding process to sort of streamline and ensure that everybody knew what was going on. Because I know in the past, there was someone who came to the select board first and they'd never been to a JEDI meeting. And so we just came up with a process to sort of make sure that kind of was smoother this time around. And so we ensured that anyone who's looking to join the committee has attended a few meetings and gone through an interview process. And they have both gone through the interview process and participated in a couple of JEDI meetings now. And we got to know them a bit better, and we are all in agreement that they would be a really good fit. So as the chair, I fully support the appointment of Amy Griffin, and they're here tonight if you'd like to talk to them and ask them a few questions.
Sure. Do you guys want to one at a time introduce yourselves to us?
Hi, Griffin. Yeah.
Griffin. If you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
I am 15. I live here in town and I have my entire life. I go to Windsor School, freshman, taking 2 honors classes at the moment, trying to get my extracurriculars in, but
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Griffin? All set? Okay. Amy?
Hi, I'm Amy Vickers, and I live here in Windsor. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids in the school system, and I'm just really excited to be part of Jedi, and I think it's really important what they're doing, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Okay.
Anyone have any questions for Edith?
How did you hear about Jedi?
I think mostly the town newsletter.
Thanks.
I have a question.
Okay,
There are multiple terms that are open. So one is a 3-year term. It's the remainder of one, so it would expire in 2026. And the appointments for all of them come up in May of the years. The other one is a term that expires in 2027. So when a motion is made, we'd have to know which one.
I think Moira discussed, it would probably make more sense for me to do the partial that expires in 2026.
Dip your toe.
And the student is a 1-year term all the time, so same issue.
okay. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Comments or?
Comment?
Okay.
Well,
Thank you, Paul Woodman. Thank you, folks, for looking to participate with Jedi. I really appreciate it. It's a committee that I see is, when I started off as just a town folk joining meetings, I saw how Jedi launched and it was influential, could be influential. And, when I first got up and running, I know Jedi, part of Jedi was, it is, an advocate of women's rights. That was always a part of it too. And I'm just, to let you know point blank is I'm, first of all, my niece, who was my nephew, is now my niece, when is transitioned. And I love my niece Cammie as much as I love my nephew Cameron. And so, I believe transition and doing what, making a personal decision to go in a direction that's going to make you the most comfortable is very strong. I advocate that, all people are beautiful in my eyes. But one thing that I'm taking issue with now is, I'm sure you folks heard about it, but one thing I'm taking issue, especially being a dad of 4 daughters, is what I see what's happening is a promotion of, biological men entering into female arenas, i.e. could be a sports field, could be a locker room, restroom, and the list goes on. And to me, it's kind of mind-boggling that being a dad, Title IX and all this other stuff, that it seems like women's safety, security, they're I would say almost to a point of, a form of dignity is being infringed upon by allowing, by groups of folks that are actually allowing or pushing for this to occur, for a male to enter into a female arena. And I definitely take issue with that. And, we had that small incident that, really irked me. That was in Randolph. It was just a young lady saying, I don't want to shower with a dude. And the folk, and she ended up getting suspended, getting in trouble. Her dad got fired, and I thought that was a little bit too much. But what I'm saying is, I understand Jedis are very influential, can be influential. And I'm not saying that I'm not going against the vote. I'm just voicing what my opinion is surrounding that.
okay. First of all, I want to clarify this group, and they're an advisory committee to the select board.
No, I fully understand that, but I'm talking about the influential, presence within our town, within the town folk also. I'm just voicing my opinion on how I feel about it, and
Okay, so let's get back to the agenda, which is to consider them for, the committee. I
Yeah.
think we're getting a little far astray here.
Yeah.
But I do want to emphasize that the whole purpose of Jedi is to be an advisory committee to us as a.
I
select
understand,
board.
and supporting all, and I believe that that's a.
Well, I think
a portion of
advisory
it
board
that-
is the point. And I think when we have concerns or questions, I think they're our resource. So I think we need
Yeah,
to bear that in mind as the definition of why they're here.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Emma, do you want to go first?
That has nothing to do with what we're talking
Right.
about. And
Yeah.
Jeffrey
Right.
just covered that.
When you,
I really don't think it's appropriate to raise things that are going on in Randolph with things that are
Well,
going on in
it's-
Windsor.
it's
I'm not finished.
happening.
I'm not finished. What, Paul? This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, and if this is a soapbox you want to stand on, you should raise it in comments that are not on the agenda. Are you kidding me would be number 4.
yeah, no, I'm not kidding, because
No,
this is,
Jedi, and I'm assuming that this has to do with the fact that Jedi is hosting a Trans Day of Remembrance.
no, not at all. Not
I
at all.
don't
Not even a
understand
little
why
bit.
That would have been brought up. And I don't know if you understand what the Trans Day of Remembrance is, and I think you should maybe look it up before you voice opinions that have nothing to do with what we're talking
It
about.
has nothing to do with the trans day.
I
Like I
agree.
said,
I hope so.
my niece
But that's
was my
not,
Because
nephew.
you
but
know
that's not what we're talking about. We're trying to vote members on the committee.
who are
I mean,
people that I'm sure we're
to-
scaring off right now.
No.
That we would love to have you guys involved and.
Well, the
voice
question was gonna
opinions.
be how do they feel about that, but I'll leave that to rest.
Well, I
A
think that
comment, not a
passed. I
question.
mean, they were in the chair and I think that. could-
I'll leave that to rest. Well,
Yeah.
it was gonna be for a general question for both and how they,
I think
and how they
we've
feel
already
about
interviewed
that.
them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just voiced my opinion on,
Okay.
on,
All right.
on how I feel about, the influential portion of Jedi. And, like I said, I'm not gonna be a no vote, but,
Okay, we'll be the they'll be our advisory.
okay.
Okay, Mary.
I was just gonna reinforce.
Wanna sit here?
Basically.
Here?
I was gonna reinforce and say the same thing Emma said. Yes, Jedi is an advisory. I used to be on Jedi. You said that they promote women's rights. We haven't really
Yeah,
done
what?
anything recently, or the time that it's been involved to do anything with a women's right or even.
And there've been
other
multiple
things.
events that Jedi has hosted that has nothing to
Didn't do with any of these, so I just couldn't handle
Hmm.
hearing that in this context. That's all I was gonna say.
Thank you. Anyone else have any comments? Yes.
I'm just going to flip the script here. I just want to say that I've had the pleasure of working with Amy for the last 3 years. She is a phenomenal person. I absolutely love her, and I was glad to see that she was interested in taking one of the positions on Jedi. I'm not quite sure who Griffin is. This is my first time meeting you, but I am very glad to see that somebody is finally going to fill the student role in the Jedi. And I want to thank you both for your time and volunteering your time.
Okay. So I'm looking for a motion for Amy to finish out the term that ends in 2026.
I'll make the motion.
Do you want to do both?
You can combine them.
We'll combine them, and let's motion that includes Griffin's one-year student term.
I'd second.
Okay. All right, let's vote.
Aye.
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 Okay, welcome to the Jedi Committee, guys. Thank you. Thank you. All right, next item. Discussion item, introduction of our new Windsor downtown manager.
That would be me,
Okay. Welcome.
John Caceres.
Okay.
Nice to meet y'all. Yeah, I'm learning that this is not a spot that hasn't been held for some time. Yes. Probably now, Bob Flynn has been talking about this position, sort of steering of the WIC committee for a little bit. So I just put some stuff down to help me kind of walk through this quickly. So you suggested I perhaps tell you a little bit about myself, and I've been a Heartland resident for just about 20 years. Prior to that, I had a place in Quechee as a second homeowner. I'm originally from New York. Worked for New York City-based ad agencies for over 25 years. Brought that up here, not the agencies, but myself and my background, and worked for a number of companies, Dynatics, Fujifilm, Vermont Telephone, Washington County Mental Health Services, Valley Vista, where I ran marketing communications in most of those places. I even helped Richie Thomas, who's a very good friend of mine, when he opened up Early Sports in 2008 on State Street, and was with him pretty much the whole time until the place shut down. Recently, I just became certified as a life and health coach about 5-6 weeks ago, so I'm sort of moving in a new direction away from marketing, but this role has sort of kept me in that space a little bit, which is kind of fun. As I mentioned, Bob and I have known each other, gosh, I guess since 2013 when I worked with Vermont Telephone. I guess depending upon how you look at it, I was responsible for putting the fireworks together that year in the Springfield Airport. So, and they didn't do it again after that. So, I don't know if that says anything, but so that's how Bob and I got to know each other, and ultimately how I ended up in this role. So just that relationship. So some of the things we've been working on that I've been involved with, and I'm still getting my head wrapped around a lot of this. It's been roughly about 6 months. We meet once a month, 2 different committees, board and then the committee itself. For example, one of the things has been a sign program that some of you may be aware of, where we're subsidizing 50% of the cost of producing a new sign. We're looking at perhaps changing the funding amount from $500 to $1,000. We're sort of navigating that right now. We have a couple of vendors that we're working with, one of whom just came on board. I think, and please don't hold me to this, but I think there's 3 or 4 businesses that are looking at least 2, possibly 3, maybe 4, that are contemplating taking advantage of that, which is kind of cool. And the intent is to, maybe if they have a sign up, like, no, looks good, make it better. There's a new business like the Jamaica place, which is looking forward to being part of that as well. We're also coordinating some holiday decorations, working to a certain extent with Riley, and in the process of perhaps supplementing the white lights that she has, and that I understand going on some of the lamp poles. But we're going to figure out on Monday how many to get, and then help string them up along the downtown area. The intent of making it look a little bit more holiday-ish and perhaps aesthetically more pleasing. Additionally, there have been some marketing initiatives going on. A video was produced, I think it's roughly about 3 minutes, that's on the website. There have been some other cuts that have been made that are varying from 15 to 30 seconds, different sort of focus areas that'll be utilized on social media outlets. One of the things that I'm sort of involved with a little bit. We recently had a discussion with WCAX and Great Media Group, which I've worked with in the past, to do some geo-targeted television, maybe. So that's going to be a collaborative effort that might be of all the downtown committees throughout the state. Again, this is very, very first preliminary meeting, but just something that's happening. And then lastly, not lastly, but one of the things that I thought might be pretty helpful, for example, and something that Donna can speak to a little bit more, like the flower pots that were put around. No one knows who did that, which is a problem. And so what we are ultimately going to do is a plaque of some sort that would be affixed to it, and that says that, made possible by WIC, and actually spell it out so people understand that it's the Windsor Improvement Corporation. And pretty much any project that we're involved with will have something like that, just to identify our involvement with it, so people know that stuff's getting done. The photo contest that happened last Friday, or ended last Friday, is in the process of some preliminary finalists, which will be presented to a community committee that will select a finalist or 2 that will be the beneficiaries of some gift certificates that were provided by local restaurants, which is kind of cool. So, and we're also working with the state to a certain extent, creating a library. That is something that we're all trying to understand, because the state, if they have their way, I still haven't understood how this works, having done a lot of this work in my own life. They want to have the photographer relinquish all rights, credits, et cetera, so that they wouldn't get credit for it, which seems, it's kind of mind-boggling. So it's photographers that got credit. So, for my part, really just going to be working with Bob and figuring out town credits, things like that, as we move forward into the next fiscal year. So. And that's pretty much for me.
Donna, you want to add?
Sure. Donna Swaney, and I chair the Windsor Improvement Corporation. And part of what I've been working with the downtown is beautification and doing things around town. So we now have 15 of those black pots or containers that we had plants in the summer. And if you notice them, thank you very much to Pizza Chef. They're in the Pizza Chef window and ImageWorks. We're trying to help them survive the winter so we could put them out in the summer. We got lots of positive feedback, even from florists, about them and how they looked in town. So we were real happy with those. So we water them twice a week and keep them going. With Tom's help and thought, we purchased also an all-terrain kind of vehicle, and you may have seen it around town. And Tom Prisby's been kind enough to go around and water all summer long. He's watered the plants that we've had out there. And so pretty soon we'll be taking up the mums that are there and then putting the pots away. We also purchased 2 benches that are right in front in the War Memorial. Those 2 benches there are Wick had purchased to kind of fix that area. So the other thing we did was the Hebert Building, which is the building across from the Windsor Station. It's dilapidated and no one's, people who own it are in Rutland. I tried to make contact, say we wanted to clean it up and clean the area up. So Tom Prisby, Bill Valentine, and Tony Rodenite, with the help of Greg Blanchard's big lift, they painted it. So the front is painted and it looks a lot better. And they got rid of the broken glass. It was all over the place. And this, of course, is right by, our Welcome Center and the Resource Center. So that area looks a little more respectable with that cleanup. And then Bill Valentine, Bill and Tom Prisby worked on the cupola that was right in that area. And that cupola, if you don't know, it was on the barn of the actress Marie Dressler, who was one of the first women to receive an Academy Award in 1939, the 30s. And she, where the town garage is, or the state garage is, there was a beautiful farmhouse there, and that's where that cupola was. And so managed to save that, if nothing else, up there. But so, and we will be putting a plaque on there to explain why this is and who it belongs to as part of our history in town. So the other thing is the Tom Prisby and Bill worked on the Pizza Chef, the front, because we have the flower pots there and it's image work. So they cleaned that up and did some painting to fix it up right there.
Oh, I went to Pizza Chef while he was doing that and he was lovely.
Oh, yeah,
I remember him.
yeah. So they were out there and they were fixing the front that was kind of falling off and painting that to give it a little more oomph and life. So trying to make it the place look, our place, give us all a little lift. And then the auto parts store, which is across from across the street and right next to where pretty close to where our new building's going up. We just cleaned up that area, tried to get the trash out of there, put a bench there that used to be down by Runnymede Lake. And then Bill put together some sculptures to stick in the window to have something there. So to spit that area up. So that's part of what we've been trying to do with decorating the town. And what's interesting is we've seen more people in other areas of towns start painting or getting some flower pots of their own and stuff. So I think, it generates some energy around, oh gee, I could make my place look better too. So that's our hope.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Any questions? Oh,
Hey, John, welcome,
Thank you.
first of all, and I'm a liaison with WIC, and I see everything that is occurring through the committee, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes that do a lot of hard work, and the improvement is extremely noticeable for what's going on in the town. It's a lot of work, a lot of names are mentioned, and there are some. So my question is, we have the video, which is phenomenal, that's short and long version. And, we're talking about the signs and everything, but I'm for you, yourself personally, do you have any of your own short-term goals that you're kind of looking at, or a long-term goal, or maybe a plan of action towards it? Is there something else that has taken a position that you're looking to move forward?
Yeah, I guess, well, the short-term goal is to help bring to fruition some of the projects.
Yeah.
So I know that it's been, whatever reason, things have been moving perhaps a little bit slowly is the sense I've gotten. So if I could serve as a catalyst
Yeah.
and help facilitate that process. I've been around Windsor, obviously, for some time now.
Yeah,
And I'd like to see it do better as a town. I mean, it's like people coming from the Upper Valley, from the Hanover area, they basically stop at the industrial park.
yeah,
And that's it, they don't make it down here. So we can help attract more folks to come down this way. I think that'd be pretty nice. I mean, there's some activities that have been going on. We've talked about doing some events
yeah,
that would be great, that could be attractive. I know for a period of time, we tried doing a Wednesday night music thing in the gazebo,
yeah.
which was, moderately attended, to say the least. So, things like that, just to really try to get people down here more. I think it would be very beneficial to the town.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for coming on board. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Hey, it sounds like you know what you're talking about. I think my biggest question would be, if you're a Heartland guy and BG Film, why Windsor? It's just you're seeing potential here that's not being fulfilled, why?
Yeah, when you ask that, one of the things that I'm aware of, is actually true, is at the time that 91 was being put together, Windsor was given the option of having an exit, and they opted to not, and, for fear of traffic, and the impact that it would have on the community, environmentally or whatever. So Heartland ended up getting it. And I think the person who likely benefited the most from that was Mike Pierce, and Mike's store, and maybe to a certain extent, Bill and Bee Gees. And, so it's become, almost as though it's a stepchild, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I think that there's just opportunity. I mean, gosh, there's so much history here.
Yeah.
I mean, just even what Don talked about, I didn't even realize this about the actress in the cupola until recently. So, but the fact that Goodyear was here, Constitution House.
Yeah.
John and Stacy I've known since they had Stella's up in where the diner is now. It's a great restaurant. People come here for that, but can we get more? Are there other reasons for people to come here? I know the church, South Church, is trying to get some stuff going too as well. So there's quite a bit of history that could be leveraged, I believe.
That's a good answer.
So.
Is it the first post office too in the country? Is that a post office? Isn't that the oldest post office in the country for the most part?
I don't know that, but there's the same post office built in Rutland, Rutland. It's a famous architect.
Yeah.
And also, I forgot Doug Klein's windows, where we have, not the dollhouse, this is a copy of the Asher Benjamin house.
Yeah,
And he was a very famous architect, long time ago. And so it's done right to scale of, as I understand, the building that was where Merchants Bank is. It was moved, and it's in Connecticut, in Weathersfield, Connecticut. And when I win the megabucks, I'm getting that building. That's how it's.
Okay, all right, all set?
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you, John.
Okay, next, we're going to, yes. Jason, you have some things to say? Okay.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I don't think I've met all of you. So I'm Jason Rasmussen. I'm the Executive Director at Mount Escutney Regional Commission. Tonight, I really just want to make you aware of, you may already be aware of Act 181, but I want you to be aware of the implications for the town. So Act 181 was also referred to as House Bill 687. You've perhaps also heard it being called the Act 250 bill. This passed last year. It's a really large, very, very thick document. There's a lot in it, but I want to just touch on a couple things that I think are really impactful, and I just want you to be aware of it. The bill requires the regional plan to get updated, and the way we do that, we're going to be focusing largely on housing and the future land use map. the future land use map, we want to work really, really closely with the town to make sure we're on the same page, because it's going to have implications for both Act 250 exemptions as well as the downtown designation, and some other designation programs. So, I could get into more detail if you want, but I think the bottom line is, it's really important, I think, for you all to be part of this and make sure we're on the same page. Um, currently you have a downtown designation. As part of this process, we're going to be looking at the area surrounding it and whether or not, right now it's called a neighborhood development area designation. It's going to have a different name, but we want to look at that in more depth with you all and see what makes sense in Windsor. And ultimately, whatever is in our regional plan is going to have automatic designation. So we just want to make sure we're talking through all the details with you all. And also the Act 250 exemptions are part of that as well. So I think ultimately we'll come back and talk in more detail about the Act 250 exemptions and some of these choices that the town has. But at the bottom, it's going to have some big implications. And so we're thinking that we would work probably with the Planning Commission. We'll take your lead on it, but probably the Planning Commission is a place where we could work out some of the details, and then we could come back to the select board if this works for you, show you what we find, and talk a little bit more about some of those options. I'll stop there. Do you have any questions?
Paul?
Hi, so, thank you for coming tonight. Would this have anything on, like rezoning residential, expanding residential to be able to have more housing? Is that what this is? Is it branching out into residential from downtown to residential, commercial? Or, is that a part of this? Working with the planning commission?
Yeah, so our regional plan right now is based in part on what the town plan says, and what state planning law says and those sorts of things. That will remain to be the case. And so, yes, we're looking at housing, we're looking at commercial development, we're looking at all of those things that you're mentioning. This Act 181 is particularly focused on housing. And so a lot of these incentives are really there to encourage more housing development. It's not going to, these things alone aren't going to make it happen, but they're, so when we talk about the Act 250 exemptions, there's generally speaking, the downtown and the neighborhood surrounding it potentially would have these exemptions, which would, in the legislature's eyes, make it easier for housing to get permitted. Am I answering your question?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, so it's pretty much everything's in discussion and developing right now, correct?
Yeah, and again, we because this has such tangible implications for the town, we want to work really closely with you all.
Awesome.
Over the next year, basically, is our time frame. We want to really come up with a fairly close to final draft by December of next year. And so, again, we will be in touch with you, I think, more than you want, perhaps. We want to make sure we're all on the same page.
Great, thank you.
So Jason, if I'm understanding it, it'll make it easier to develop housing where we have our utilities already in place, like our downtown.
That's right.
And I think as a result of this legislation, a recent thing that our DRB went through is we have a developer expanding the number of apartments in some existing buildings, and they are required to have a parking plan. And the town's zoning regulation said you needed 1.5 parking spots per unit, but you could come up with a plan that gave you a lot of flexibility. You could lease spaces on somebody else's lot. You could even just say no one who rents from us can have a car, and to keep the numbers down. But from this legislation, the state said now municipalities can't require any more than 1 spot per dwelling unit.
That's generally true. I think actually that was in the Home Act the year before, and then this sort of builds on
Yeah,
this ongoing-
there has
Yes.
been this ongoing effort to help create increased density in the downtowns.
Right, and if this regional plan that I'm talking about, this update is in place, that developer might have some additional financial tools available to them, for example. So, there are some other hopefully benefits that will come to this.
Okay, because where we are, not to go down all these specifics, but because of that requirement, it was easier for us to issue the permit to allow the expansion of, I think, 8 additional apartments. These are in the buildings that are across from Union Square.
Yeah.
But the other side of it is, just because the rule says you can't require more than one spot, it doesn't magically generate more spots. So as we're entering the winter parking ban, it's like, well, I'm allowed to have this, but where can we park? And we say, it's not our problem.
Yeah.
You, as the landlord, have to work that out. So this is just the first instance of that, and should additional development happen in that way, there's going to be some challenges to be able to meet those requirements from a practical matter. And just, could you tell me, do they can take into account the flood zones and brownfields when they look at this?
They do. So on the parking question, you're exactly right. If I'm a developer, I could always have more parking, but the town can't require more at this point because of the state law, more than that one per unit. Yes, this stuff, when we get into this regional plan update, we need to be looking at the floodplains, and we need to be looking at the river corridor areas, and gets a little nuancy, but generally speaking, we need to account for that.
Thanks.
I guess I just want to clarify, does that sound reasonable to you all, that we work primarily with the planning commission on some of these details and then come back and show you what we come up with? Does that make sense?
Yes,
That's what the structure of the boards are
Yes.
for.
yes.
Okay. Very good. That's all I have, unless you have questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're all set.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
Action item, consider approval of Batchworth LLC Tier 2 cultivation, pending approval of the state, by the state. Here's Ralph.
Hey, how is everybody?
Good. Ralph.
Good.
So we've received notification from the state that the permit for Batchworth LLC, it's the building Ralph's been working on for a while, back on the Windsor Technology Park building. So they're asking for the input from our local board, which is a select board. And just to remind you that the purview of this is it meeting our zoning regulations, and have there been issues kind of the same way with the liquor control? And both from zoning and police, there have been no issues. So they would suggest that, a recommendation for approval going forward.
Okay. Do we have questions?
Not a comment, though. Ralphie, I want to thank you for, starting your business in Windsor and doing well, and, serving the community, and it means a lot to us. It really does. I want to thank you for, what you've done so far.
I appreciate it. And I also want to extend an invite to everybody on the board. If you'd like to come down and see what we've done. When I bought this building, it was 100 years old. The past 3 years, we have taken what would have been borderline condemned building, and we've now turned it into a laboratory. So I'd like to extend everybody an invite to come down, see the facility, see what we've done. And I appreciate everybody's vote of confidence on us.
Yep.
So any other, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Ralph, can you tell us how many people you're employing and will be employing?
So at the current moment, we have 10 employees at the shop. We have 6 at the warehouse, and we are about to probably hire another dozen to 16 individuals in the next 3 months.
And this is all for your growing part.
This is all between the shop, which is Depot Shop, and then Batchworth is the warehouse, which is the old Combe Blanchard building.
Other thoughts? Okay, then we need a motion. So do we go ahead and vote, even though it's still pending the state?
Yeah, you give your input, and then the state will use that as part of their information. So it's kind of like if you say yes and the state says no, it doesn't matter,
Okay,
but that's unlikely.
so we'll go ahead and vote. Okay.
I'll make the motion.
A second.
Aye.
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 All right, we're good from this, oh, sorry, Ryan, I didn't see you there. So we're okay then from the select board
Okay.
perspective, all right.
All right, Ralph, and I'll have Riley do up a record of the vote and mail that to the, CCU on the email that goes to the state.
Excellent. If you need anything, just shoot me an email, and I appreciate everybody's vote. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to giving you guys a tour as well.
Okay,
Take care. Have a good night.
you too. All right, action item, we need to consider appointments to the FY 26 Budget Committee.
Okay, in your packet, you spent all of this
I know.
money. You know, you could at least open them up and pretend, you know? Don't do it now. I mean,
But what now?
it's for next time.
I was typing.
We have 4 members so far. 3 of them are returning, Cliff McNaughton, Molly Matson, and Kathy Hoyt from last year. And Jennifer Freeman has indicated an interest to serve. Jennifer and her husband bought the Milix out on Hunt Road, used to be the name
Cedar Hill, no,
yeah, Cedar Hill, Cider Hill Gardens out that way. Anyway, since they moved to town, they've indicated an interest to be involved in the community. And just so happened, my wife and I were standing next to them handing out trunk or treat candy. And we chatted each other up and said that this could be a way to get in. It's only a 5-meeting commitment. And so anyway, I'll vouch for her character, and I twisted her arm to do it. So I would hope you would give thoughtful consideration to the 4 of them.
let's have the motion and then we can have discussion if there is any.
I'll make a motion to approve them.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, discussion?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so let's vote. Paul?
Aye.
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 Okay,
Ryan.
so Jennifer Freeman is on the Budget Committee. Okay, the next action item, I'm gonna, Tom, ask you to,
And that's signing a MERP grant agreement. We don't need to do that. We were notified today that we did not get a municipal energy MER, I don't know, municipal energy something program. Doesn't matter, we didn't get it. So this was the state had $45 million of, I think, state ARPA money to put out for renewable energy initiatives. They were supposed to make the decisions in February, then they were supposed to make them in September, then October, and they finally came in today. And they put out a map that says, here's where all the projects are. We asked for $400,000 for the rec center, as we've talked about that.
yeah,
We knew that wasn't going to really meet their criteria because the things that they wanted to fund don't work in that space. But we also have all of the air handling equipment in the building is 20 years old, and we have a couple units that are not currently working. So we asked just for money towards that. We didn't get it. When I just looked in the area, it went through regional planning agencies. There's 40,000 here, 56,000 here, 38,000 there. I didn't look, that 45 million is a lot of money, but I think they awarded 120 some odd. I'm wondering if we just were too aggressive and asked for too much money. Anyway, with that, as we look towards the budget process, there will be a recommendation that we already have the bond authorization to do that. But we've talked in the past about how bad that system is, and it's from the 1960s. that, that's going to be something we talk about in the budget to get that going.
All right, so last item on the agenda, well, new business. So just a discussion item, questions for the annual community budget survey.
So I sent the board a link that should have allowed you to click through just to see the questions. If you did that, that was input from prior meeting, as well as there's a set of questions that have been in every survey, so we kind of trend where that's going. And in the past, there had been, I would say, topics of the moment, homelessness and addiction 1 year, a couple of years, prison property. This year, there are questions that really are more geared toward interactions with the legislature and the impact of state legislation on our municipal budgets, and what do you think about that? So unless somebody says, no, you have to add this one in and you vote, my intention is to start distributing that Friday and have it run through late December.
Does anyone have any comment? Yes.
I thought of one thing. We could either do it or not do it, but it might be worth it to put one of the questions, how can we reach more Windsor residents? I know we have a hard time reaching them for everything from your weekly email blasts, which are super helpful to the people who get them, as well as things like the annual survey, which I still talk to people who don't even know that this exists. So it just might be worth it to hear what people have to say, like, how can we reach more of you?
But if I put that in the survey, the only people see it
Are the people in the survey?
It's,
in the egg.
and then maybe it's like we can work beyond that. To give just a brief history, we used to distribute hard copies around all over town, because if you're not plugged in, then you don't get it. We got, just round numbers, we get a total of 250. We got very few handwritten ones. We have about 4,000 followers on our Facebook page, so it gets put up there a lot. Obviously, not all those people live in town. We have about 1,000 people on the newsletter thing. We can cross over to like Front Porch Forum, Cornish Connect, different things that are like this. The thing that makes me wonder, but there are things that get put on Facebook, our town Facebook page, and it's not the big drama stuff. It's something that is you put a picture of a bear sitting on somebody's porch. That will get, thousands of, we've had 40,000 views on the different photos of the day. If it's municipal business, it is what it is, it just doesn't go. So maybe we put a picture of a bear on the third survey.
I think we need more pictures.
I think we just need more pictures of you, Tom. I think we'd go viral.
That, maybe you'll get nothing but a picture of me and you fill out the survey. As we keep hitting benchmarks, the pictures start going away. But I mean, it's a fair, and what I'll also add to that is this will be, I think, the 13th year. It is always about 250, no matter what we do. And I can see the results as they come in. So once we hit about 25 or 30, the percentages of who answers what on the questions is extremely consistent. So that whole, do statistics work? Sometimes not. But when we get 250 people from town answering the questions, we only get 500 or 600 when it comes to town meeting. We had almost 1,900 last Tuesday for that election. And the number of people who said, this is the first time I voted. But I mean, you only really get the chance once every 4 years, right? Well, no, we'll explain a little more to you. So, I mean, there's just that general level. But I think what we get can be taken as a pretty fair representation of what the community thinks. And you can argue whether the questions are the right questions, or you can certainly ask questions in a way to lead people to a certain answer. I'm no expert. I try not to do that, but I think we get a pretty good result. But it would be nicer to get that number up to 500 or 600. Tell your friends. You guys are all on Facebook. You're all really popular people. You're not.
Now, what about town meeting day? I know this was a big one, but like next year we'll have for like the select board and some other things, I know that we do get a portion of Windsor that comes there to vote. So do we have anything there? Like, are you already getting Tom's email blast? Are you just to possibly get some more emails or some more?
I'm gonna say, oftentimes I do.
Okay.
I did not this time. And either because I'm burnt out of it or the 1,000 to 1,100 subscribers has been, very consistent, but I will reinvigorate myself to 4 years from now in a volunteer role. See what I can do about that.
But I think though, like Tom had said, it's kind of a content issue, right? So this is not a Windsor specific problem of one, getting participation, or two, getting people to care about town government. It's just, I think we do a fairly decent job on, blasting information out, and we all could always do better. We all have a social media presence and you can blast stuff out, but I think it's just entirely said, hey, the people that are going to go to town meeting are already subscribing to his newsletter, right? So you're not really getting new people that are, because it's always going to be a core group of people that are involved in town politics or care. And I just think that, we could do some more outreach stuff, but I don't know how much more you're ever going to get.
We'll put a ringer controversial question in there that can go on to the Facebook hater page and say, can you believe they're asking this? Like, hunting in Paradise Park. Do you like that or not? That'll generate some interest, I think. That's a joke. There's not going to be a question like that, and we can do that anyway.
So I think we're ready to move on to old business, right?
Sure.
Okay, y'all liaison updates, reports?
No,
No?
I do not have one. I do.
Welcome you guys to Jedi Committee. Very excited to have you guys there. It's fun and funky and tough discussions a lot of the time, but I think everybody's very excited to have y'all's input, and I'm sure this was a fun, spicy start to town stuff too, this meeting. Jedi is hosting a Trans Day of Remembrance Vigil next Wednesday, November 20th from 6 to 7 p.m. on the Common. I would invite anybody and everybody to come and do something really important, especially right now with the state of the union. And I will be there, and I am excited to have our town represent what we believe in, and a chunk of what we can do is this event. So I'm excited for that, and I hope everybody can come. And huge props to Mara Hershey for putting in so much time and effort and energy into this event and into all the events that we've done this year that have nothing to do with women's rights. So I'm excited about that.
I will be there.
Whee!
Okay.
Since you're here and on that topic, you had asked about checks for some speakers. The town's good for it if it's not that day, but if you want the checks that day, I'm going to need the information shortly. We're going to run checks on it.
Just to clarify what Tom is talking about is Mara reached out to me and I reached out to Jeffrey about the town providing small stipends for speakers that are coming. It's a $25 stipend, which is enough for a really, really fun, like McDonald's meal, and just a way. I said to Tom in the email, it's just a nice way to welcome people to our town. Hopefully to not have something at McDonald's and have something at a Windsor business. And just to make it a little bit easier to be here for what can be a tough event to speak at. So, thank you.
I don't think you can get McDonald's for 25 anymore.
Last time, you can't get as many quarter pounders as I would like.
Okay. Are we ready to move on to town manager's report?
I think we are.
So I put this up in the packet tonight, so if you haven't seen it, but it's available to the public. The board has made it a priority to have interaction with the legislature moving forward. So I thought it's important to know what happened in the elections. So it's just the statistics, but our state representatives are the same. They ran unopposed. I think it is interesting that The most votes were people who didn't vote for, didn't use up all their votes. So, take that what you want, that, I think that there's concern about how, whatever that shakes out to be, but John got 3174 votes, Elizabeth got 2993 votes, and blank votes was 3,384. So that's, you got to factor in there was no opponent, so though the opponents would have got some, but more than that. So I think people are, when you wonder, are people feeling what's going on at the state level? I think that is an indication. And I bring that up because I think if you're interested in dealing with the legislature, just to tell them how wonderful everything is, pat them on the back, not to be critical, but to understand that they should be feeling concern. And when you put on top of that, I don't know how much people follow the state level politics, but one of the things that I think everybody felt a little bit frustrated with is the veto-proof majority.
Yeah.
That no matter where you are, when you have that, I think it really dampens constructive debate on issues. Well, that veto-proof majority has gone in both the House and Senate. So there's some little graphs in here that says the last section, Democrats, they went from 23 to 17 seats, and they needed 20 for a supermajority, Democrats and progressives. And then the same in the House, they went from, they lost 19 seats. So when you see that kind of, I think, a seismic change across the state, and it seemed pretty well distributed where that is, that something's going on with some dissatisfaction. So I would hope that the legislators are questioning why that happened and are very open to hear where those concerns may be and what, if anything, can be done. There's no quick way to say, let's just fund education different or healthcare, all of those things. But without a real spirited discussion on how those things happen, I don't think you get to an answer that people are more comfortable with. So it's just statistics, but there's little pretty graphs and stuff in the.
Could I just piggyback onto that and just kind of check in with the rest of you guys and see what you want to do next in terms of our liaison with our folks at the state level? I know that Emma and I are working on, and Tom are working on trying to set something up with Elizabeth Burrows, an informational meeting, and I'm still waiting to hear back from.
She I was looking at my phone, y'all. I apologize. She did respond.
Okay.
Literally an hour ago. I think
Okay.
scheduling is crazy, but she's
responded.
she's thrown out some dates and
Okay.
times. I've
Perfect.
joked many times, but scheduling as an adult is a joke.
Okay. So we're moving-
Is that
we're
the
moving-
informational on the process of how bills go through and how to contact?
That's
with
part
the-
of it, yeah, but how to access the website.
Access it, yeah, right.
Yeah, and Tom and I've been talking about it, and Tom and Elizabeth have been talking about it, and Emma and I have been talking about it, so
We've been talking.
yeah, we have. So we're moving hopefully in a direction of having something put together that can be informational,
Okay.
yes. That's nothing to do with issues or topics, it has to do with
Procedure,
process,
process.
accessing information.
Need any help?
Okay,
I'm game.
thank you.
Bug you.
Well, I don't have any, I forgot my information with me, but I'm kind of monitoring some of the energy, bills that are coming through and what's happening. And I apologize, I forgot it, but I have spoken with quite a few town folks on how they feel about it. And, out of maybe 26, I've had 4 that were like, let's keep driving forward. But a majority was we understand and we accept the direction that we're trying to go on an environmental status, but the issue that we're having right now is the affordability portion of it. So I'm just trying to gather some information from a cut of folks. So that can be shared with our representatives, so they get a little bit more of a cut of how the Windsor folks feel about it. So, it's not just gonna be blah, blah, blah. It's like, this is what constituents are. So I'm trying to communicate with folks a little bit more on that, to get a little bit more solid information from our constituents.
Yeah, I think we need facts.
Yeah.
And I don't know how we want to move forward on this, if we want to do some kind of regular check-in or not, but just kind of think about that and Ryan, do you have any input on how we want to kind of stay focused on this particular part of what we're doing, or?
I think it's important for everybody that has an interest in it to kind of keep their eye on bills and stuff. And I'll work on, I have lobbyists that work for us that track all the things that are important to us on like the public safety aspect of it. But I'll kind of try to throw some things, everybody's, the different things you're interested in.
Okay.
But I think just keeping an eye on it and then reaching out, obviously keeping the open dialogue with the reps, but I think, I think informally keeping a lot of pressure on things that you care about. The formal meetings are always good, but I think that informal pressure of sending emails and trying to have conversations and not always a formal sit down doesn't always need to happen, but the consistent pressure of how you feel, stuff needs to go.
Okay, and I did communicate with everyone that was elected and just as a reminder, and congratulations and a reminder that we do want to stay connected. So they all received emails and responded in a way that indicates they're willing to keep us updated as things happen at the state level.
Good news.
So, I think that's kind of confirmation that they're willing to do that piece.
This is great.
I think most people are aware Senator McCormick retired, so we do have a new
Right.
Windsor County Senator in Joe Major,
Yeah,
who was a
Mr.
speaker
Major.
here back in February.
Yeah.
So
Windsor ahead of the curve.
there you go. So anyway, there's somebody new.
Yes. Okay, I guess we are ready to sign orders, and then we can also do public comments for items not on the agenda. Anyone else have public comment?
Bless
on
you.
the agenda?
Bless you.
Okay. We'll move on then to board member comments, please sign orders.
Reminder, just the top page needs to get signed there. There is a select board member of one of these. All members need to sign this thing.
So Ryan, do you want to start with board member comments?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody that was involved in the election. Certainly Riley, Deb Olmsted,
You go ahead.
and all the volunteers, the justice of the peace that stayed up late and counted votes and went very smooth. And we have a good group of volunteers, so to speak, that help with this stuff. But it's a lot of work. And I can't remember everybody there, but Paul Belaski, Donna Sweeney, Bill Valentine, Paul, Tom, who else was there?
Oh, heck. Well, I'll say Riley and her crew, the team of justices of the peace that showed up, put in a very long day, got in around 5:30 and we're here till about 10:30 at night. So there were a number of people. I know Donna was there, Bill Valentine most of the day, Paul.
Oh, Jill White was there all day, Riley.
Most of the day, yep.
And
Our new assessor, Michelle, was there the entire day.
so it was nice to see that. And like I said, it was a lot of work, and thank you for everybody that made that run smooth. And thank you for everybody that came and voted, and there was no trouble, there was no headaches. And it went very smooth. So thank everybody that participated.
Kara, anything?
I just want to thank Griffin Vino and Amy Vickers for joining our Jedi committee. We are happy to have you guys. And also a big thank you to Cliff McNally, Molly Madison, Kathy Hoyt, and Jennifer Freeman for volunteering their time to help with what is going to be a pretty difficult budget season. I need a second, you go.
Okay. I will echo what Ryan and Tara said. I think we had some really solid people who were stepping up and volunteering in a lot of capacities, and I appreciate all you guys who do that.
I want to welcome the new Jedi committee members, the new members that are going to be coming on board to our budget committee. That's always a testy one. It's tough. And, I will you know, obviously I want to apologize for my prior comments, but obviously it's something that's, kind of somewhat near and dear to me, and I'm confused about some things. And, just throwing it out there, I don't know how else to put it, but that's pretty much it. And I just want to thank the committees for all their hard work and everything they do. And that's all. Thank you.
I think I already said this, but welcome y'all to Jedi and town stuff. I'm very excited that y'all are gonna be involved. It is gonna be a fun journey. I think something I'm taking away from this meeting too, to echo Paul in a way, is that there are a lot of people in this town on the different committees putting in a lot of work. What was his name? John seems great. John seems really great, and I'm excited to have him involved in getting downtown revitalized. And I think that we come to the close of 2024 and we're going to go into 2025 and look at this budget, and we're all going to work on educating ourselves and fighting ignorance. And I'm really looking forward to that. That's what I have to say.
Can I offer something here?
You may.
Sure.
We have, the next meeting is
Yeah.
the day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if, instead of having a meeting, the next scheduled one is the 27th, that maybe we move the next meeting to December 4th and have another meeting then on December 18th, because they're scheduled for the 11th and Christmas.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Why don't you want to do this on holidays?
I will say that for the December 4th and 18th, I am available for both of those. I know
I am too.
you all need to check your schedules, but
No,
I can make that happen.
yeah.
I may be in the office on both of those holidays because it's quiet and I can get things done, but then I don't have to go to the meeting, so I can be even more productive,
Oh,
or not.
I'm gonna be in New Orleans.
Okay.
fourth and the,
On the
okay.
So
18th.
I will plan on, I will plan on the input that I have, that we'll look at the 4th and the 18th for the next two meetings.
But not the 27th.
Not the 27th and not the 25th of December.
So we start the
Okay.
budget meetings then? is that
The
right?
budget meetings start in January.
Oh, January, I thought we
Yeah.
had one in December.
Well, we will, what we'll have is on the 18th,
18th.
we'll have that, invite the budget committee members
Okay.
here, have that general conversation, this is what's coming. And then you will get the draft budget the last week of December, so that you see it, and we'll have the binders and whatnot put together like we have in the past, but that 18th will be the budget discussion. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Do we have to make a?
You don't have-
Do we have to do anything?
Well, if you want to, vote to change the dates, and then it's
Do we vote to
official.
say- Okay,
Sure.
do I hear a motion?
Make the motion.
Okay.
I second.
We will all make the
All
motion.
right. Roll call.
I'd vote aye
I vote aye.
Aye.
Right.
on the 18th.
We're changing dates. Okay, then I'm gonna call this meeting adjourned at 7, what is that, 37, 38? 7:38?
Isn't it nice to know the clock is dependable?
There
Oh, yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, it wasn't.
was not.
We get things done here.